This podcast is intended for adults only. We do not condone the use of any illegal substances, and anything we consume is for educational purposes only.
Because, we should be afraid of a plant that grows from the ground. And, endocannabinoid system is, it's in your body and it produces cannabinoids. I mean, you know what? I'm going to stop because I'm going to rant. Just play the music, Mitch.
Check my mileage, cause I got drive. First two, I drove 6 states, never thought I'd be there right by my side, man. What a time it is to be alive. See, I'm charged up, feeling energized, do the enterprise, move supersize. Y'all lecture like a side of fries. Whoa, false guys who you idolize. Yeah, go against us, I would not advise. We know how you see in the room, just look up what's in, you can find us. Our song should have more plays, but we too, though they rewind us.
Hey, what's up, everybody? You're listening to the Canna Kuyas podcast. We are cultivating conversations concerning cannabis, culture, and creativity. I am one of your hosts. My name is Mitch Narito.
And it's your boy, Eric Esteban, right here. And we have some very special guests to the show this episode because we have the creators of the very first Filipino stoner movie. It's the very first. And it's not even in Tagalog. It's in Cebuano. So it's like the coolest, most awesome, the creators of SuperPyschoCebu are and Christian.
Hello. Hey, what?
So what's up, guys? It's so good to see you. It's so good to see you because we met on my first podcast. And now we're here talking again, and I'm just happy to introduce you to Mitch and have you on the official Canna Kuyas podcast because now you are a Canna Kuyas and a marijuana ate officially.
What?
Awesome.
A marijuana
but how
what?
would you say that?
Marijuana ates.
Oh. Marijuana ates.
Is that a term for that?
Apparently. Okay, now it is. Kumusta?
We have spoken.
Binasbasan
Happy to be a marijuana ate.
So guys, like Eric was saying, Christian and Ara created a movie, and it has to do with marijuana. And they're filmmakers. Like I've seen clips of the movie, and it's wild. I enjoyed what I saw. I'm waiting to see the whole movie soon.
You see the trailer?
Yeah, I saw the trailer. I did. It's like
trailer, by the way, out. I wonder if that's the one you saw. Yeah.
Which one?
We have a new trailer out.
Yeah. I sent it to you, Eric. It was a new trailer.
Yeah, I was gonna post it after we recorded, but because I've seen the movie, I've seen SuperPyschoCebu, and Mitch hasn't. But we're gonna have a special event on 420, this 420 Saturday, 420 2024, the anagram 420, the alignment 420. We're gonna have a SuperPyschoCebu special screening in my backyard. Only invite only. We're not gonna have it because we can't have a consumption event where it's a lot of people because we'll get in trouble, and even here in California. So there's still a lot of restriction, even with us.
Is that why Hippie Hill got canceled?
I don't know if it was necessarily that. I think that the people who are running Hippie Hill just they don't have any more money.
Yeah,
so Hippie Hill is like an annual gathering at Golden Gate Park because 420 started here in the Bay. There were these brothers who, like, at 420 after school, they'd go smoke weed. So, like, they established it. And then to celebrate this Bay Area thing, it became a huge event every year on April 20 at Golden Gate. But it's not happening. And we were sort of banking on that because we also have a screening at Bindlesif Studios. At nice. 420 on 420, so we were like, maybe some of the crowd going to Hippie Hill might go to SuperPyschoCebu, but I don't know. I don't know if that's happening.
What actually happened was the city didn't have enough money for it or something. I don't know. So
that's weird.
Rumors, yeah.
Okay.
See, the more I hear about Bindlesif, the more I want to go there, man. I keep meeting people from there.
Yeah.
And then I just hear it's very.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now that we wouldn't be having an event at my house if it wasn't because my dad's birthday is on the 19th. So I really can't be out of town because I want to be there for my dad. I think he's like 76 or 77.
Yeah.
So, I got to be there for my dad.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, but your backyard is actually, for me, it sounds like the coolest place to be.
Yeah. Like you smoked with Cheech and Chong there or something.
No, I wish, man.
That's correct. You're talking to the Filipino Cheech and Chong right now.
Right. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes. Super Psycho Cebu too.
Even better.
So before we get too deep into things, just for our listeners who may not have heard of you before, can you guys just like tell us a little bit about yourselves and what you do, where you're from, all that?
Okay, so me and Christian are Cebuano independent filmmakers because there's not really an industry in Cebu. What we have is a scene, and Christian's actually one of the pioneers for the new wave of the Cebuano cinema movement. And they started it in it started in the early 2000s. It was just like a bunch of cinephiles who got together because there was a film school that was established, and they had a policy where you're not allowed to use the vernacular. You're not allowed to use Filipino because I think they were trying to position themselves as like an alternative Hollywood location.
Mm-hmm.
And so the locals, the Filipinos who were there weren't really cool with that. And they were like, why can't we make films in our own language? So Christian was working there at the time. And a bunch of them gathered, and then they started making stuff like Exquisite Corpse Project. I got into it because I used to be an actress, and I auditioned for a lot of the student short films for those projects. I came from theater. And then, they were student films. They weren't really interested in breaking barriers or anything. But it was when I met Christian's group. They were auditioning for like an Exquisite Corpse Project that I started asking more questions because I liked what they were doing. I started talking to them about the process and thinking more about translating my scripts for the screen. And I got to see what they were doing. I got to see their preliminary projects before they launched. So by 2010, that's when everything exploded for them. There was a feature film that got made with the group. It was called Damgo ni Eleuteria. And that film put Cebu on the map. That's what really set things off. But there was another film before that called Confessional, which was directed by Gerald Darog, who went on to direct one of the highest budgeted Filipino films currently, which is General Luna.
Oh yeah, I've heard of General Luna.
So and Goyo apparently is now, which was the sequel to General Luna. So his first film was made in Cebu with the Swiss Army knife crew, which included Christian.
Ah, nice.
So it's a very tight community, and it's almost anti-hierarchy because like if you have a project that you want to direct, everybody will come together to make your project, and then you can be that same director and like sort of step down and be art director for somebody else's project. We just changed chairs. What's that?
I think that's
So that was what the scene in Cebu used to be back in the day, and for a couple of years we kept getting grants from Cinema One Originals to make these feature-length Cebuano films. So we were kind of like the odd, the exotic entry. Like
nice.
You'd have these genre films from Manila, and then you'd have this crazy Cebuano film. But we found out like over the years that the problem is that we don't own the royalties for any of these films. And the reason that Christian made SuperPyschoCebu was because in college he had written this script, and this was the reason he wanted to be a filmmaker. He wanted to execute this script, and he let me read it, and I was like, "Were you stoned when you wrote this?" He was like, "Yeah, maybe." So it used to be about a book. It was about a guy who was looking for a book, and then it became a guy who was looking for a particular kind of weed. So yeah, so that's Super Psycho Cebu. We shot like within a year, like on the 2 years. On the weekends when we had extra cash, we'd shoot a scene, and then we hired these kids that I went to college with, that I was in a drama club with. So yeah,
that's awesome. So I have to ask. So Christian, so you wrote Super Psycho Cebu, and this is fascinating to me because like I know that within our culture, like Filipinos in general, like weed is very taboo. It's not widely accepted at all. It's very stigmatized. And I grew up in Los Angeles, and I remember having weed or around me at a young age, like it was part of the culture. Mm-hmm. Like how did you come into contact, or what was your experience growing up with marijuana in Cebu? You're from Cebu originally, or?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm actually born and raised in Cebu. I spent 30 years there.
Okay.
I'm like, I really know the place. I am the product of that place. So everything I do is Cebuano in a way. My observation of the stoner culture there is like Cebu is a tourist town, and it's also a university town because all the universities are there. So the neighboring islands, the kids, they go there. So it's a very transitory town too, which is interesting because like I've lived there all my life, but I've known so many people who have come and gone, you know, and because of that, they're a little more lenient when it comes to weed. It actually becomes sort of a hub in the Visayas for it.
Okay.
And, the slang for the weed there is Psycho Cebu.
Okay.
The strain, the slang.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody really did any studies, but that's what they called it. Like, oh, if it's a weed, it's kind of like Baguio Gold. If it's from Baguio, they call it Baguio Gold. And then
yeah.
It's like Psycho Cebu or Ubec. Some people call it 420, which is like, I don't know why. But yeah, so I made this story sort of like I made sort of a fictional strain that's so absurdly potent, and it's called the Super Psycho Cebu. And the story is basically about this dude who tried a little roach, and he got him so high that he sort of made it his mission to score some. Yeah. So the movie is set in a day, and it's basically him just going from person to person looking to score for some Super Psycho Cebu,
which is also the experience of looking for weed in an illegal country. You're just gonna go from one person to another, and they're gonna go, my friend.
Yeah, like I'm out, so you have to go get from this guy, and then it's being passed on. And and it's also a very Cebu experience because in our island, it's very near the beach, it's very near the mountains, it's very near like
you can go to the mall, and then 20 minutes after you can go to a waterfall. Like everything 20 minutes away. Yeah.
So he basically goes everywhere. I mean, visually, he goes to the beach, he goes to a mountain, he goes to a forest at some point, he goes to the city, and that's our sort of the Cebu experience. It's like it's everywhere is so accessible.
I don't know now anymore.
I don't know,
because the traffic. We've been away for at least 5 years now. And that we keep hearing, even when we were there, the traffic was getting intense, and I don't know if it takes 20 minutes or an hour now.
Yeah, no, that's what I hear, because like my family, like my mom and my dad are both from the provinces. My dad was from Batangas, and my mom's from Marinduque. And the last time I was there was 2007, and I was already starting to see how it was becoming developed.
Yeah.
And I see things from family there now, and it's like it's just exploding. There's just so much, like
it's gentrification
going on. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So like for your movie, I know you wanted to explore like or showcase Cebu and all of its like variety and its beauty. But
that's my favorite part. The cinematography and getting to see Cebu, because I've never been to Cebu, but I feel like I've been watching this movie a couple times, because the different shots, like at the bay, and then all the, like you said, all the different environments. It's one of my favorite parts of the movie is going on the same tour that your main character goes on looking for weed, you're going throughout the tour of Cebu. So it really is one of my favorite parts of the movie.
It really is a tour of Cebu because you see everything.
You hop on jeepney after jeepney to go to this place and that place. You even go to the downtown area where people are. It's not very clear, but he eats a lot, which is like self-explanatory.
He's got the munchies.
Yeah, he gets the munchies and he eats these. What are the hermit crab? Ba ng katong gibuak, like shell,
sea
shell
urchins.
food.
Yeah, he eats.
No, not uni. Like
not uni?
Hermit crab na you crack. Yeah, the way that it's sold back home is you crack the shell and then you take the meat and then you dip it in suka and vinegar and then you eat it like that. And that's sold like by vendors by the side of the road. So it's just like that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You're getting nostalgic. You're getting hungry for the crab.
Food for a reason. So
yeah.
And mostly we shot those gorilla actually. So it's as authentic as
it's as authentic as an experience as you can possibly get of like Cebu.
So my question is like out of all the things that the character could have searched for, why focus on weed? Why focus on that? Like, what was the draw for that?
There's a lot of media about how weed is beneficial, like medically. I don't think there's enough. I don't think it's talked enough how it can actually enrich you spiritually too. Like, I wanted to highlight the shamanic aspects of it. How it can actually I know a lot of artists, they smoke it and it helps them with their art, you know. There's something about that, and you know, it's a sacred plant, I think, and I don't think that's talked about enough. So that's why this movie is really about that. It's like sort of it's like it's an allegory for spiritual enlightenment, but
also because
use weed. Like
it's a very repressive society. Like Cebu is very conservatively Catholic as the ground zero for colonization.
Yeah.
It's very in a lot of ways Cebuano society is stuck in certain ways of thinking, particular mindset, and to be like we're with SuperPyschoCebu, it's definitely going into the territory of we know it's taboo, but since it's a taboo topic, why don't we talk about all of the taboo topics? Like, why don't we talk about self-actualization? Like, at the end of the day, what Idol or the main character in SuperPyschoCebu is trying to get at is self-actualization, and there's very many ways that Cebuano or Philippine society traps you into this box of you're not allowed to access self-actualization. You're supposed to conform. You're supposed to fit into. Why are you supposed to be like? What does guapo look like, or what does a good Catholic Christian son, boyfriend, etc., look like? So those are all things that the main character goes through and tries to figure out for himself.
And that's what I also find fascinating, because Eric and I, we're Philams. We're born here, and the differences in culture and being able to see what I guess what you would call like mainland Philippines, like what they go through, and there's a very insidious aspect to colonialism, right? It has developed within the Philippines this kind of like self-hating the Filipinos, right?
Absolutely.
And because of that, if you are doing stuff that is outside the norm, stuff that is not normal, you are othered. And it's because, like, back in the day, if we were, let's say, for example, like, we were part of like the working class, the slaves of our colonial peoples, right?
Of the original Filipinos.
Right. If we were acting out of line, if we were showing any sort of resistance or whatever, they would turn our people against us to keep us in line.
Exactly.
And I just find that so interesting, especially like with views when it comes to marijuana. because Philippines is one of the strictest places I know in terms of like penalties for it, because in certain areas it is punishable by jail time or even stricter things, right?
Like socially, it's accepted for you to get assassinated if you're like,
and it's just for weed, like that just has always like made me very wary and conscious of our people and how we view this thing, because like Christian was saying, Eric views this plant as medicine, right? For him, it's medicinal. Like there's a very high medicinal quality for him. For myself, I'm more on the end of the creative, the spiritual. I use it sort of meditatively, like it just gets me able to think, right? Like, or I think differently. It changes my perspective on the world, and not in a bad way. It just makes me more open, I feel.
Yeah. In that case, this movie is for you.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've seen parts of it, and the parts
I am also spiritual. Don't be trying to just put this all medicine on me. I'm a spiritual. I'm spiritual. Just because I don't go to church don't mean I'm spiritual. I'm not spiritual.
Right. It's
Amen,
like all of it is,
I'm playing with you, Mitch. No, but I that's part of what I love about this movie. Is that there is spiritual aspects to it, and there is self-actualization, and because this is a plant that allows you to do that. You can't do this shit with cocaine. You can't do this. No, for real, you can't do this with alcohol. What other drug besides psilocybin and mushrooms can you go on a spiritual journey and actually have a progressive, actual, real self-actualization? There's very few drugs, and both of them are from the ground and they're plants. So go figure. It's pretty interesting. And then, but at the same time, you guys talk about colonialism and how,
control.
Our society has controlled us and controlled this plant. We talk about it on the podcast and how, as Philams, Filipino Americans were demonized.
Yeah.
Yes.
For so long.
So we met a lot of people. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's because it's choppy.
When we met, when we got here, like we found out, we met a lot of cannabis advocates, people who basically were like, "Thank you for making this movie. We needed something to represent us," and we were like, "Yeah." And then on the other end of the spectrum, we also got red tagged for it. So we met a lot of people who were talking about how it was turned into a Schedule I drug here against, like, as a racist form of control against Mexican farmers, and then only to find out later that Mexican farmers was an umbrella term that included us. And the farmers that came here were from the north,
or excluded us from the description.
Kaya nga, that's us.
Excluded us from the description. It was just the Mexicans that were mentioned, but it was really. The only reason I mention it and interrupt is because Cesar Chavez is like a hero, right? But Mary Leong is not, and they work together. And that's where Filipinos weren't mentioned. So it is definitely a thing where this plant and plants in general have been used. And my echo is terrible on this shit. But I'm just, so I'm going to mute myself again and let you guys talk.
No.
Turn your volume down.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. It's like whenever the Philippines, what I've noticed at least coming here, like with Filipino Americans, there's a lot of like sublimation of like you guys' impact in American society or just Philippine contributions within American society. Like, for example, Larry Itliong's story. There's a musical happening right now in the at the what's the name of that theater? BAFTA Theater. I'm not sure what the name of the theater is. But
it's in San Francisco right now.
Yeah, I saw it. It was like I brought my sons. We really enjoyed it because we are recognizing that this is part of their history now also. And I wanted them to see where American talent is, or where Filipino American talent is right now. And like we were very impressed by the singing. And I'm a theater girl, so of course
Nice.
we were gonna see it. But to that point of like Philippine contributions being sublimated, I'm just wondering, because we're hella connected to Mexican culture because of the galleon trade.
Mm-hmm.
We had Baguio Gold, and Baguio Gold is considered tribal. Like it's a tribal plant up in the north.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's hard to imagine that we weren't included in that we weren't also like similarly being discriminated against when it was turned into a Schedule 1 plant. And the reason that it became so demonized back home is because of the little brother effect, the little Filipino brother effect of whatever Reagan says, Marcos is gonna follow, right? So it was demonized.
Pairing of Reagan and Marcos, man.
Right?
Ooh, Lord.
It's like
No, but we were included. Mitch and I talk about it all the time. Harry Aislinger, 1937.
Yeah.
Right before right after the Watsonville riots.
Yeah.
There are 100,000 total marijuana smokers in the U.S., and most are Negroes, Hispanics, Filipinos, and
that's us.
entertainers.
Yeah.
Marijuana causes white women to seek sexual relations with Negroes, entertainers, and any others.
Yeah. And
it's always been, they've just been afraid of our poginess. That's really what it's been.
And that's continued today as like we see it in the way that our lolas and our lolos and our titos and our titas are very like, ano, nagmamarijuana ka? Ano ba yan? Like it's some horrible thing na they should try it. Maybe they need it more than.
I bet you they would chill the hell out if they tried some marijuana. I'm just saying.
There's this joke I read.
Did I tell you the story where I told my mom? And now she does edibles?
What?
My mom takes edibles now. She's a marijuana user now.
Congratulations.
Oh, nice.
I shared it with them.
What was your joke, Christian?
Oh yeah, like they say like weed is like a deodorant because those who need it are the ones who don't use it.
Mm. I like that.
I know.
Well, I need it and I use it.
So after this movie, I know that it's a tricky area for you guys. So share whatever you can share. Mm-hmm. But like, what was some of the fallout that occurred because of this movie? Like, were you expecting the fallout while you were doing it, or was it just kind of like you shot the movie? It was an artistic endeavor, and then all of a sudden, like things kind of got like a little like hectic. Yeah.
So when we were shooting it, the tendency for our films is really to just because there's such a lack of representation when it comes to the rest of the country. Like all of the films that come out of the Philippines are very specific to Manila. Even Manila and Manila's lens. Like even when they're shooting in the provinces, it's very Manila, like their perspective of what life is like. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to I just noticed that in a lot of our movies, the intention is just to show things as we see things. Like, what's the Cebuano lens? What's the Cebuano sensibility? Like, we're trying constantly to define what is Cebuano sensibility. So even if it's informed by foreign films, even if it's influenced by like other stuff, it's always going to be through that lens. So when we were shooting SuperPyschoCebu, it was really just to show like what stoner culture is like within that milieu, like just the fruitless quest of looking for something that you might die for, you know. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's also before Duterte, it was just a slap on the wrist if you were found with weed. We've had in Cebu, so that some Cebuano stoners can be really lax when they're outside of Cebu. Like we had a really close friend who went to Manila to pitch a film, and then he was found with like 4 grams of weed in his pocket, and he didn't even realize he had it, you know. So he was in jail for a year, and like but this was before Duterte. After Duterte, like in Cebu, if you were caught with it, we'd hear that the police would just have you sing the national anthem and then laugh at you and then send you off on your way. And then they'd raid farmers, and then they'd have like a big bonfire just for, you know, for the photo op, to show you that they're burning all of this illegal, you know, stuff while standing in front of it.
Getting high. Like,
yeah. And then afterwards they'll have a budol
breathing really good.
Yeah.
Like, job for a good job.
For a good time.
Yeah. So after Duterte, said our film, so we were shooting this for 2 years, huh? We premiered 2016 at the beginning of Duterte's regime.
Yes.
And he was even saying, he said a lot of bullshit, you know, when he was still running, like stuff like, I'm gonna spread the national GDP from Manila to the rest of the country. So of course he was courting everybody from the provinces. He was courting like artists. He was saying Bisaya na po. There was a whole campaign about promoting Bisaya artists and creatives. He was saying he was gonna legalize weed. So like he talked to everybody. He talked to all of the possible like niches that he could get to just to get that vote. So when he got into position and bulldozed over all of those promises, we thought that if Duterte wins, our film is not going to be relevant anymore, because this story happens in the context of it being illegal. If it becomes legal, it's not interesting anymore. But that's not what happened. In fact, it got so crazy that our screenings would get surveilled, and Christian would get interesting Q&As in Cup Country. Like there was a film festival in General Santos where Manny Pacquiao is, and that's a very conservative place.
By the way, that was an awesome screening.
Yeah.
600 people, and they were laughing at every joke.
Yeah.
I think it was so taboo to them, and they partly were shocked.
So it was also
a movie
a
like
relief.
that existed.
Yeah.
Just to break that tension, you know, like just allowing people to know it's like it's okay to laugh.
Okay to laugh.
And
yeah.
you know?
in the Q&A, I had questions like, "Did you ask permission from the PDA to make this movie?" And I had questions like, "Where did you get that bong? Did you have that smuggled here?" I'm like, dude, I got that in a mall.
In a mall.
And what the hell is happening in here? You know?
Yeah, like it's so taboo. But on the flip side is that the places that are the most conservative had the biggest response to this film, because, like you said, it gives people a reason to just breathe out, to laugh at something that they think they're not supposed to be talking about, or they're secretly talking about amongst just like their close friends. So, which is probably also why we were red tagged over it, because we were normalizing a culture that people preferred not to normalize, you know? Like but we were also, because the film scene was so small, was so tight-knit, we were also screening films outside of like the traditional distribution system, because most of the films that end up in Philippine theaters are Hollywood films. So we have independent producers asking us for help screening their films, and more often than not, these films are gonna have like some sort of advocacy or like shining a light on something like child labor or mining, blah, blah, blah. So we were also getting heat for showing these counterculture films. So our organization, our human rights organization, got red tagged during Duterte's presidency. Somebody told us that somebody was snitching on our film and showed us these messages of what they were saying, that they were claiming we were drug addicts and drug pushers, and we were making a film to market our product. And then we would get messages of people asking us, "So can I buy SuperPyschoCebu?"
No.
Yeah, that's crazy. They message us and say they want to score some.
They want to score some.
Dude, we're a movie, not a dispensary.
Yeah.
when somebody asked you, like, who asked you, did you ask for permission to make this movie? And we're like, okay, so there are hundreds of films about murder. Do they ask for permission from the cops?
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna make a movie about murder. Are they murderers? Like, it just got like crazy, like as the heat got, as the drug war continued.
Yeah.
And we met a lot of advocates because of that. We met a lot of people who were on the front lines of the legalization movement because of that, because they felt so seen. They felt so they were so happy that there was something representing them in a way that was also entertaining, as opposed to, this is a documentary, we are informing you, blah blah blah. And people don't like, it's easier for a fiction film to go around than a documentary would, even though a documentary is 100% like needed when it comes to like what's happening in the Philippines and the legalization movement. But that's another story and another movie.
Yeah.
Not us.
Yeah, when I made this, I knew for sure that it wasn't gonna get like a commercial release in the theater. So like, my real reason for doing this movie is actually to learn, like, to hack distribution, because that's really the gate where the gatekeeping happens, So if I could somehow try to cheat that, that was my objective with this. So in that sense, I treated this movie like a musician. And it toured like in bars, in basketball courts, in
schools,
and in house parties, wherever they will have it. So, and that also meant that I get to meet my audiences, because there's always going to be a talk back afterwards, and there's always the political question that's unavoidable. And I used to have a spiel, actually. I would usually say that, oh, this movie is not an advocacy film. I'm not trying to say anything. I just want to make you laugh. But if it was an advocacy film, and then I go into a rant why this weed is illegal, and why like people should use it more, and that it actually like cures cancer and whatnot. I go into a spiel of its history, and I even included what you said, Eric, about the origins of it being like racist in a way. That's how it began, the prohibition. And then after I go into that spiel, I'd say, but this movie is an advocacy film, so I'm not trying to say that at all. So it also like makes me wash my hands, like, oh, I'm not trying to advocate anything.
Yeah.
But then
tell a story.
And I also say, like, shout out to all the undercover cops in the audience. And then one day, I think we suspected that there was actually an undercover cop there.
Oh, they were so obvious.
Yeah, they were so obvious. And we called them like 421 Jump Street. Because it's so fun.
Ironically, this screening was
421 Jump Street.
421 Jump Street. Like,
because they had like a t-shirt that says 420 Philippines. It was
embroidered. And like 420 Philippines, those guys are screen print guys. Yeah. They're not gonna have like professionally embroidered polo shirts. Who have those shirts are the police.
And he had a buzz cut, like he was by like by the entrance, just looking at the audience and not the movie.
Yeah.
And, so.
Yeah, we had beef with him.
Cops are always obvious, either in America, the Philippines, everywhere. Cops can never, because that's their job, is to not be cool and fit in. That's their job. They can't.
Excuse me, sir. I would like to purchase one marijuana.
Yeah.
So Christian and Nara,
that was a bit scary though.
The pictures are funny though.
So what's next for you two?
I want to really just wrap it up by talking about our special secret invite-only event that we're having in the backyard for the Canna Kuyas, where we're going to screen your movie. And Mitch is going to watch it for the first time. We're going to watch your movie, SuperPyschoCebu, in my backyard with some of the guests who have been on the podcast here in Los Angeles, and just some other VIPs that are going to be coming to watch the movie and smoke it's Gelato 33, but I know that the Larry Bird cut always bothers Mitch whenever I mention that it's named after Larry Bird. He's a big Laker fan. And so for that 420, I'm going to rename our Gelato 33, and it's going to be Super Psycho Cebu for that
Finally,
night only.
it has manifested.
So all the homegrown is going to be called Super Psycho Cebu for that night only, and we're
That's
going to all
very
be smoking it because we've been waiting for this harvest for like 4 months. So it's going to be like almost the same type of trek that Idol goes on.
That sounds really cool.
We are honored.
I wish you guys could be here because you guys have been to the house already. You know what the backyard's like, so it's going to be fun.
I'm going to be in Detroit. Chris is going to be in...
I'll be in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Nice. Before we go, what's next for you guys? You guys got any plans? Any other projects you guys are trying to make, or anything that you guys want to accomplish in the next coming months?
Actually, I wanted to plug our screenings because the thing about this movie is it was made in 2016, but every 420 there seems to be like a demand for it. Mm-hmm. So every 420, except for like the pandemic, we stopped then. During the pandemic, by the way, we put it in YouTube for free and it exploded for a while. But now it's not the pandemic and we're back. This is actually the first year we're back showing in a 420, and it's actually the biggest too. We're showing in nine cities around the world. 10 including yours.
Yeah.
And that blew my mind because I started with like 3 or 4, and then I talked to people, it kept popping up.
Like we were really excited already for the like Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao year, right? Like where we were screening.
Last year we had Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. I thought that was really a big thing already. The whole Philippines is showing it. Mm-hmm. But now we have we have New York.
Yeah.
We have San Francisco. We have your place in LA.
Yeah.
We have Detroit, and we have we're showing in a commercial theater in Fort Lauderdale, in Florida. And
blows my mind.
That's like 5 cities in the US.
Awesome.
Yeah, and in the Philippines, we're showing in Ormoc. We're showing in UP Diliman. We're showing in Cebu. We're showing in Dumaguete.
I'm actually more impressed by the small town screenings in the Philippines.
The small town screenings.
Because the fact that there's a demand there.
Oh, and Davao too.
Yeah, because
that's 10 cities.
Nobody's figured out how to do marketing for a Cebuano audience, for a Bisaya audience. And that's one of the things we were trying to hack throughout this whole process, because we were also part of the Binisaya Film Festival. And so that film festival, we'd screen, it was founded by Keith Daligero, also a filmmaker. And he would take a projector to barangay halls, to basketball courts, like all over, like wherever he could go. And also with the spirit of trying to figure out what does distribution look like in the Philippines. And so like the fact that it's screening in cities like Dumaguete and Ormoc, because there are venues there now, because there are like not necessarily cinema venues, but like creative spaces that are asking for screenings. Like that's a different milestone also for me. Like I'm excited to hear like what the American audience's perspective is, but it's the Bisaya audience that is like untouched and uncovered ground for me. So yeah,
so please send us that information so we can share it with all our listeners too. So we can help give you that little push before next week.
Yay.
Yeah. You can follow us at SuperPyschoCebu movie in
IG. Yeah. And although that's a new account, so it's growing, but we've been active on Facebook. All of the reviews are there. All of the memes are there. What else? Aside from, we're also putting shirts out. So yay! We've been fortunate that we have a big community of Cebuano artists who are always like excited to work with us when we ask to like put out merchandise and stuff and posters. Aside from that, my movie Miss Bulalakaw is on TFC. We're working on. I think we can we talk about it yet? Not yet. No, the other stuff.
I don't know.
No, there's the pipeline.
The quality problem to have to not be able to talk about everything.
Right, it's non-disclosure agreements.
You can watch some of our past work in iwanttfc.com.
Yeah,
it's a platform in the Philippines for movies and stuff. I think it's
no
under ABS,
TFC
right?
is here. The Filipino
here.
channel is here. That's the counterpart of
see.
ABS
Okay.
back home.
Yeah.
So our movies are on I1, TFC.
You can watch my first feature there. It's called Aberia.
Mhm.
It's about sex, rock and roll, and time travel.
And drugs.
So everything taboo actually I put in that movie. So you can watch it there. You can see Ara's first feature there called Miss Bulalakaw, which is about
It's a gay guy who gets pregnant following an alien abduction.
Okay.
and I shot some films that are in there too, like Damgo ni Eleuteria, which is like one long take feature film, like 90 minutes, no cut. That was in 2010. You can check that out.
And Nocebo is horror. It's an Irish-Philippine co-production that I wrote some stuff for, and it's on Amazon Prime. Blah blah blah. Yeah, and I'm working on a stop motion project called Marichin Marukoy, and that's on IG.
Nice.
We're working on some films right now.
I'm telling you, we got the movers and the shakers right now. We've got the and if you didn't know the cannabis made you creative, here are two examples.
Yeah. Do you have the term stoner moves here? You know, stoner moves.
Yeah.
Like, you know, some things too.
Yeah.
They make stoner moves.
Yeah.
I wanted to correct that. Every time somebody compliments me, I can say, "Oh, stoner moves." You know. So it's something positive.
taking back the term.
Lol.
But
Guys,
Christian
thanks
and
so much
Ara,
for being on the show.
yeah.
Go ahead, Mitch. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh no, just like Eric was saying, thanks so much for taking the time to be with us today. It was great getting to know you guys, getting to know your creative process, and like continued success to you guys. You guys have got a lot of work going on, and I'm so excited to see like you guys blow up. You know, like hopefully the Canna Kuyas and you guys, we can collaborate on something. You know,
hell yeah! Oh my god, yes.
So
You know that's gonna happen
Tomorrow, let's
later.
go.
yeah, so for everyone listening out there, you've been listening to the Canna Kuya podcast, where we are cultivating conversations concerning cannabis, culture, and creativity. We would like to officially thank Christian, our new official Canna Kuya, and Ara, our marijuana ate. Welcome to the group. I'm Mitch
Welcome to the
Narito.
family.
Yes. So
Kita
I'm
man.
Mitch.
But go ahead, Mitch. I'm sorry.
I'm Mitch Narito, and I'm joined with my co-host.
Eric Esteban. And just remember, if you like what you heard, write a review, hit that 5-star rating on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts or wherever you got to do it. But hit a review, share us with your friends, because we got to fight against that algorithm and get the Canna Kuya podcast in more ears. And here we got video, so in front of more eyes. Thank you guys very much, and stay elevated, stay lifted, keep smoking.
Peace,
We'll see
everybody.
you soon.
Yeah, I got my hoodie on, now peep the chest, as human catalyst. Downtown True La Vista, on 3rd Ave where I go cop some shit. Fuck a thief, so fuck zoomies, yeah, they whack ass jack and shit. Yeah, I move too swift, so I'm striking silence. Fuck the violence, man, check my mileage, cause I got drive. First tour, I drove 6 states, never thought I'd be there right by my side, man. What a time it is to be alive. See, I'm charged up, feeling energized, do the enterprise, move supersize. Y'all let shit like a side of fries. Whoa, false gods who you idolize, yeah, go against us, I would not advise. We the highest in the room, just look up once and you can find us. Our song should have more plays, but we too dope, they rewind us. All my talk is lined up, every day my girl get fined up. All my clothes is local, bitch, I really rock designer.
Let's go, gang, highest in the room, yo, we get fucked up. You can count on Trey Cap, bring the loud back. Get us in the stew and that's game over. Western Metal Building, that's a home run. Yeah, keep the up or leave the fuck a Folgers. Little bitch, I made the beat and dropped the full verse. I just hit a steelo, I got dripped up. Package born and raised, bitch, I got dripped up. Y no se compara. Yo estoy con mi pana, se llama Trega, fumando ganja. Estamos con Cali, fumando en Cali, yo sé que traen ganas. Ella me dice, papi, que terminamos la cama. Highest in the room, yeah, we get fucked up. You can count on Trey Cap, bring the loud pack. Ay, get us in the stew and that's game over. Western Metal Building, that's a home run.
Yeah, we got hits like Tatis and Machado. Man, we know you're not a leader, cause all our moves you just follow, packing big bowls. You know we just scooped up that gelato, cause I smoke killer. My shirt iller, yo, ask our dealer, we the highest in the room. Just look up once and you can find us. Our song should have more plays, but we too though, they rewind us. All my targets lined up, every day my girl get fined up. All my clothes is local, bitch, I rarely rock designer.